station, and we have a corner store. And that's it. Oh, and a school. We have an elementary school. Yeah. So Taiwan is really small. In my kids' classes at elementary school, there's like maybe 7 kids in each class. 7 kids in each class at elementary school. It's great. We love it there. So that's where I live, in Taiwan. It's a wonderful little place. You should all go visit sometime. So, good question, where? Anybody else? How about some why questions? What kind of music do I like? That's a good question. Don't forget that with things like what, we can always add other parts, like what kind of music do you like? So, I enjoy most music, except rap. I don't think rap is music. It's more or less noise, you know. So I like Disney, you know, Walt Disney, like Little Mermaid and stuff like that, right? They have some really good songs. I like classical music, opera, pop music. I like a lot of the Taiwanese pop music. Some of the singers are really talented. Okay, how about one more question, and then it's my turn to ask you.
Why would you like to stay in Taiwan instead of Canada?
That's a really good question, and there's a lot of answers to that. So, why Taiwan? Well, there's 2 parts to that. One, Canada isn't a great place to live anymore. I know everybody wants to leave Taiwan and go to the States. The States is not a good place to live either. I mean, you guys know what happened Sunday night, right? In Las Vegas, the shooting. That would never happen in Taiwan, right? So, Taiwan is a much safer place to live. Canada is getting more and more like the States, and our government is not, they're not trying to do what most of the people want. In Canada, the government only listens to the people who complain the most. You ever had one of those classes where the teacher asks the students what they want to do, and then there's one student who always complains? And so the teacher listens to that one student. Well, that's what our Canadian government is like. They only listen to the people who complain, and I don't want my kids growing up there. So that's part of it. Part of it, though, is I love Taiwan. I mean, Taiwan is a really great place. The weather, I think if the weather in Taiwan dropped maybe 20 degrees, that would be about awesome for me. But then we'd have other problems. But Taiwan is really great. You guys have another beautiful island. I mean, there are things about Taiwan that you really can't do in most places, like food. My wife can call a farmer, he's like out in his field, and she calls him and orders fruit, right? And he's actually out in the field, like he's picking it as she's talking to him, and then he puts it in the box. We get it the next day, right? That doesn't happen in most places. And in Taiwan, we have free access to almost every kind of education. I mean, there's no limits to that. In Taiwan, the government cares about what the people want, but the government is still reasonable, right? It's not, you know, either you're right or you're wrong. And if you're wrong, then you have no hope, right? The government in Taiwan, it listens to the people. Now, there's some corruption, there are some problems. No country is perfect, but Taiwan has an awful lot of advantages. So, it's a beautiful place. Okay, my turn to ask you guys questions. So,
how many kind of language do you have?
how many, sorry, again?
Kind of language
Oh, yeah.
do you have first?
So, yeah, you were in my previous class. So, this goes with what I studied at school. So the question is, how many languages? I speak English, French, German, Spanish, Italian. I have some Latin and some Greek. In university, I also studied sign language. If you count Swiss German as a different language from German, then that's another language. But yeah, that's another long story. I learned English and how English works by studying other languages. And that's something I'd like to share with you guys after, in a little while. When you study English, you have to use what you already have, okay? And don't believe every white face, because most white faces have no idea how English works. Okay? We'll come back to that. So, my turn to ask you. So, does everybody live here in Hsinchu? Are you all from Hsinchu? No? Okay, good. So we can start with that question. So, where are you from? From Taipei? Okay. Where are you from? From Taipei. Where are you from? From Kilo. Geelong. Okay. Yeah. White faces are responsible for the horrible spelling problems on your maps. Like Keelong instead of Geelong, right? And Taipei. Everybody always says Taipei as soon as they talk in English. It's not Taipei. It's Taipei, right? Is there in Mandarin? Taipei. What is it in Taiwanese? Is it Taipei? I don't think so. What about in Hakka? Taipei, I said Taipei. Alright? The thing is, it's spelled with a P because white people screwed up. And now 100 years later, you still have spelling problems on your maps. So, if you want to pronounce your names, like the names of places in Taiwan, the Chinese way, then English people just have to learn the Chinese way to say those words, right? Because the bay in Beijing and the bay in Taipei are supposed to be the same bay, right? North, right? So if you're going to say Taipei, we have to say Beijing and what is it? Peiju. Does anybody say that? Or no, Zhubei, right? So does anybody say you live in Zhubei? 有没有? Okay, so I'm picking on pronunciation because pronunciation is one of my things. But so we have Taipei and we have, sorry, I forgot, Geelong, right? All right, and where? Taoyuan, okay, and Taoyuan, also in Taoyuan. I know you're from Japan.
I'm from Japan.
Okay, you guys, where are you from? Malaysia. Okay, and also from Malaysia. Okay. See, that's why they're sitting in the front. Because they're here to learn. Okay. All right. Where are you from, dude? Taipei. All right. And Yangmei. Okay. Taipei. And Zhubei. See, Zhubei, not Zhubei, right? Okay. So that's where everybody's from. Why are you here? Why are you at China University of Technology? That's a long name. How do you say that in Chinese? What's the name of the university in Chinese?
中国科技大学
That's just as long. Okay. Why are you here? Okay, we'll go with here. So, why are you here? The question on the paper is, what are you studying? So, basically the same question. What are you here for? What are you studying? So, what are you studying? Interior design? Is that it? I didn't catch what you said. Interior design, yeah. Okay. And what are you studying? The same? Okay. All right. Now, one thing that you all have to be able to say is those words the same. So, put them here. Now, this is a way to cheat in a conversation. All right? On a test, you don't want to do this because cheating on a test is bad. But in a conversation, anything that helps you to share your ideas is okay, right? So in the last class, we talked about how you can deal with words that you don't know, right? And one of the easiest ways, how many of you are in interior design? Okay, the last class was all design students, so I just thought I would check. All right, one way to deal with not knowing the words is to say the same, right? Or if you're a design student, art student, you should be able to draw, right? So don't forget, in a conversation, what matters is that you share what you want to say. It doesn't always have to be in English, it doesn't always have to be in words, right? Short story, quick story. When I first came to Taiwan, and I had 0 Chinese, okay? There was a restaurant, you know, like a street vendor that was selling soup. So I was walking down the road and I wanted to buy some soup. And the lady there, she had no English. I had no Chinese. So there were 2 kinds of soup. And I wanted to know, well, what's the difference? And so she pointed at this one and she was like this. So that's easy to figure out. Okay, so that's a fish, okay. And then she pointed at this one and she did this. And that's where I kind of got stuck. All right, so the fish one, I can get fish, right? Fish, that makes sense. All right, but what animal is this? I mean, this is fish soup, okay. This one, this is a chicken. I don't know why, but this is a chicken, okay? The question is always about how to make the other person understand, right? So, if you need to use your hands, if you need to point, dokari, right? What matters is that you can communicate. Now, obviously, we need to learn so that we can communicate better. But you need to start somewhere. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with pointing and saying the same. So the words are there. What are you studying? Okay. All right, so interior design, we have 3 students. All right, you guys, what are you